Hello, hello. Dr. Brett Spradlin here at Divine Design Natural Health. It is January 27th. We have a guest speaker for you. I will introduce him here in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to show you, everybody, what you really came for tonight. Jones, show me your socks. Put your leg right up here. What are these right here? Whose face is this?
It's like a little cross between a Klingon and an elf, I
Yes.
think.
Yes. A Klingon and an elf. Yes. And I think it's the North American yellow-bellied, wild, yellow-backed David Hogsed, who we'll introduce in just a moment. And we all have a pair. We all have a pair. We have his head on our socks. We'll explain more later. However, today's January 27th. We'll have February 24th. There will be a WellWorks class. I think I'm speaking at that one. I'm not sure. And it's a surprise topic. March 24th. I think I'm speaking at that one. I'm not sure. But that will be determined later. So without further ado, put that on your schedules. Tell everybody you know. Get them down here. New sheriff in town. This is Divine Design Natural Health. Is everybody here ready to learn now?
Yes.
Okay, let's make it sound like there's more than 4 people in the crowd. Oh, there it is. There it is. Wow, you guys are too loud. But I want to introduce Dave Hogsed, great friend of mine, great colleague, and I probably came across Dave Hogsed. I was in grad school, started in 2010, so I'm going into my 11th year of practice here. But I started my doctorate program in chiropractic school in 2010, so it was probably summer of 2011 or so. I went to a Florida Chiropractic Association convention at the Peabody Hotel in Orlando, Florida. Long time ago, and I think Dobbins, Dr. Dobbins was still around back in those days. And I saw this, interesting looking woodland elf type guy with big pointy ears and a bald chromy head. I said, who is this guy? And what's he talking about? And so I went to this thing, and it was my first standard process seminar, I believe, was 2011. And so I've seen probably a dozen seminars, whether it's CE stuff or whether it's stuff where Dave's speaking in Nashville or Knoxville. Whenever he's in town or whenever he's in our backyard, I always try to go support him, throw rotten vegetables and fruits at him, make fun of him widely in front of everybody. And he's been a wonderful friend and a wonderful colleague over the years, despite all of his misgivings, which are many, and we'll list them all later on. But we've become friends over the years. I first saw him while I was still in school. Here I was listening to Dave's wisdom and knowledge with all the standard process and Mediherb products. Got into practice, built this place, kept going to seminars, and a lot of the standard process speakers that I've gotten close to or have learned from over the years. Out of all of them, Dave's been I would say the top of my list. Then probably 2018, 2019, we got together, started talking, and since then we've been in contact on a regular basis. And so, if you are all patients here and you have anything, I just want to give Dave a round of applause, because if you've been a patient here for any amount of time and you've enjoyed any of the PEMF, any of the pulse PEMF therapy things that we do here in the office, Dave played a big part in introducing me to that, because I'd been looking at PEMF type devices for a long time, and it was Dave that finally sent me down the right avenue of that. Yeah, the right down the right road. And so if you've been here for any amount of time and you've experienced that, you need to give Dave a thank you and a round of applause, and thank him for being here today with all of the wonderful knowledge you're going to get. All of 22 years now speaking for standard process, right? Since 03. So going on 22 years of speaking for standard process, the wisdom and the knowledge, everything you're going to get tonight is going to be great. And we wanted to get the best speaker that we possibly could to speak to my crowd tonight, but he wasn't available, so we got Dave Hogsed.
I don't know why I stay in this toxic verbally. Thank you so much, guys. It is great to be back. It's been about 2.5 years, and I just so appreciate you taking the time out to come learn what I think is going to be some life-changing information, because it's been for me many years ago, and I did not know it was that long ago that you started coming to those seminars. 2000? 11-ish. Well, everything comes full circle because I can honestly say now that we talk about once a month, once every 6 weeks max, and talking to Dr. Brett pumps me up more about clinical nutrition than anybody else I talk to. That's the only reason we're friends, because I get that out of it. Because his passion for this is not for show. It is totally genuine, and it's like clockwork. Every time we talk, it just reinvigorates me, and I got to get back to the office and tell everybody this. So I appreciate that, Dr. Brett. Thank you so much. And tonight's topic is something Dr. Brett and I deal with a lot when both of us are passionate about whole food clinical nutrition. We use a lot of standard process supplements. And for any health practitioner that's using a lot of whole food clinical nutrition, the biggest complaint that comes up with our patients is why so many pills? How many of you have ever had that thought before? Okay, nobody's honest in this room. Come on. Everybody, if you're taking a substantial standard process supplement program, at some point you're looking at all those capsules, all those tablets, and think to yourself, it's only normal. Why is this necessary? And I think we can have a deeper understanding of that tonight than ever before. You know, there's more understanding and awareness than ever before of all the nasty, toxic stuff in our food and environment, right? Everybody knows sugar's not good for you. Everybody knows refined grains aren't good for you. Everybody now knows seed oils, omega-6 processed oils aren't good for you. And that's great that there's more awareness. The alarm has been sounded. Everybody's trying to avoid it more than ever. But what's desperately missing still is we still don't understand what we have to eat for optimal health. There's, as we're going to see, foods that have literally disappeared from the American diet. Some of them are coming back. Some of them are extinct forever. And some of you, right when you see the picture on the slide, you will say to yourself instantly, I will never eat that food. Give me a pill with it. And that's what tonight is all about. Foods that are so important for optimal health. You either must eat it or take it as a supplement. Take it or eat it. The optional or the optimal is usually to eat it. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes, as we said, the food is so disgusting, you'll have no interest in it. Next slide. Case in point, organ meats. Well, we're going to spend, I just saw on everybody's face, nobody is going back to this. This is something everybody used to do, wasn't it? So we're going to talk about a lot of organ meats that used to be in our life, totally gone, disappeared, and they all have their place. They're all really important. But we're going to see the absolute essential for optimal health that you either must eat or take as a supplement is, what is that? Liver. So show of hands, how many of you grew up eating liver? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you still eat liver? Okay. Oh, so you didn't growing up, but now you do. Oh, all right. That's an anomaly. All right. We'll take it. So when I do seminars and I ask that question, typically what happens, and it depends on the age of the audience, but about 70% of hands will go up that they grew up eating liver. They had a mean mom or grandma that forced liver into them every week at least, right? But then when I ask that question again, how many of you still eat liver? It's maybe 3 hands in a group of 100 people. So this is a food that everybody used to do, and now it's gone. Just completely gone from the American diet. So this country, you know, we got a lot of sharp divisions, right? A lot of different beliefs, but what everybody's united on, the only thing this country is united on is that liver is disgusting, and we're not going to eat it anymore. That's what everybody's united on. But we're going to see in a few minutes all the nutrients we lost when we made liver extinct. Does anybody know this organ meat? Heart. Very good. Hearts. You're going to see that a lot of the supplements that you depend on have both liver, especially liver, and quite a few have heart. I don't think we have any supplements with this one. Does anybody know what this organ meat is? Ton.
Tongues?
Ton. Yes. How many of you have eaten beef tongue before? It's good, isn't it? Like this one shouldn't have disappeared because it's actually tastes really good. It's actually a very good source of vitamin B12, but nobody's going to eat it. Anybody want to guess what this one is? Sweetbread. Does anybody know what is in sweetbread? Can be a lot of organ meats, but usually the main one is thymus gland. Thymus gland. So I guarantee almost everybody in here, Dr. Brett has recommended a thymus gland supplement that if we all ate thymus on a regular basis, you probably wouldn't need those supplements or wouldn't need them as much. Is anybody depressed so far? Just seeing this. Oh, it's about to get worse. Next slide. We're going even worse. This one's not too bad, is it? This is right behind liver, the second most important organ tissue from animals that we need to consume. Bone broth and bone marrow. So how many of you grew up grandma cooking bone broth a lot? Mom or grandma? How many of you make your own bone broth now? Excellent. So this is a food. Liver is never making a comeback, but bone broth is. And the essential thing about bone broth, very multi-purpose. How many of you have heard of glucosamine supplements before? For joint health, right? Cartilage, arthritis, any kind of joint problem. Glucosamine is one of the most popular supplements. People don't know that bone is like the only good food source of glucosamine. Glucosamine and chondroitin. So people are taking these as supplements, and that's fine. But if we got whole bone extract, we'd be getting that glucosamine and all these other joint and bone rebuilding factors that we can't get in isolated supplements. A lot of the supplements that you guys love and use on a regular basis, you're going to have a deeper appreciation tonight for bone being one of the main ingredients in them. Next slide. Why eat bone? Because we are literally falling apart. Osteoporosis, back pain, bone on bone, no cartilage in the knees, osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. I'm not saying if we ate bone, these conditions would never exist. I am saying they would be much less frequent, much less severe. So if you want to support your bones as you age, this is just radical. You eat bone. And that bone, everybody's obsessed with collagen today now, taking collagen supplements. Bone is the ultimate collagen containing and collagen supporting food. And what's medicine's answer for osteoporosis now? What are the main therapies used? Drugs like Fosamax. Dr. Brett, what are some of the side effects of those kind of drugs? Death, there you go. Cancer is one of the possible side effects. Yeah. He's so optimistic, isn't he? He's always so cheery. The irony of every one of those osteoporosis drugs is they all have bone deformity and fractures as side effects. So whether it's the injections, whatever type of osteoporosis medication. And the reason that is none of those drugs can actually feed and build bone. Only eating bone does that. By the way, quick little plug for the PMF technology that you use here. That pulse magnetic field therapy is the strongest therapy you can do for bone density. And you can go online and look at the studies with that. If you have osteoporosis, osteopenia, in addition to nutrition, if you can do a couple sessions on the PMF mat, a couple sessions a week, you will get your bones back. It's been shown time and time again. It's the ultimate therapy to strengthen the connective tissue in the bones. So we use drugs that make our bones actually weaker. They don't build bone. They just prevent old bone from breaking down. So when you go get another DEXA scan, everything looks great. They tell you your bone density is higher, but your bones are actually in worse shape than before you started the drug. What kind of drugs are we using for osteo and rheumatoid arthritis? Steroids, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories that are destroying our liver, stomach, kidneys, and you talk about a problem that's getting worse and worse. It used to just be, a couple cases of rheumatoid arthritis, lots of people with osteo. But I know, Dr. Brett, it's got to be the same with you. The amount of autoimmune joint inflammation cases today is skyrocketing. Everybody's developing autoimmune inflammatory issues. And again, I'm not saying eating bone would completely eradicate this. It would make it much less severe, much less common. Next slide. So we'll go back to bone in a bit. If for whatever reason anybody gets inspired tonight to eat organ meats, it's not going to happen, is it? I'm not going to either. But if anybody does, we have somebody that eats liver, so maybe you will. I'm going to show you. We have to actually see that it's not weird to eat organ meats. We think it's weird in America now. If we went across the world, we would be looked at as the weirdos for not eating organ meats. This is something the rest of the world still does, and we don't because it tastes gross. We decided to get rid of it. But if you go to this website, grasslandbeef.com, you can, and great website, a lot of good grass-fed beef, really good quality stuff. The hamburgers are amazing. Everything on there is good, but you can buy pretty much any organ meat you can imagine. Next slide. Like lean ground beef with heart, kidney, and liver. Any takers? Yeah. Actually, if you mix any of these organ meats with ground beef, it tastes good. It sounds like you do this sometimes. Awesome. Liverwurst. This is a great one. That's heart, kidney, liver, and ground beef. But then if you just want to go for it and get a big old glistening slab of liver, you can get that too. Should we offer a prize for anybody that can do that? Do a video of themselves just biting into raw liver? No. I'll give them tickets to your next seminar. All right, sounds good. Next slide. But there's more. You can get 50-50 heart and ground beef, beef kidney. This is in a lot of the supplements. When you go back and look at your standard process supplements, you're going to find kidney in it a lot. This was Dr. Royal Lee, the founder of Standard Process's favorite food source of vitamin A. So any of you that have taken, how many of you taken Conjuplex before? I saw Cataplex ACP. Yep. Liviplex, that we'll be talking, all of these things that have vitamin A, you're going to find kidney. He especially liked it for vision support. If you want to support your eyes, you want a supplement that's got kidney for whole food retinol vitamin A. So we're going to see the supplement iPlex later loaded with kidney for that factor. Next slide. There's more. This is all still on the same website. You can get lamb heart, pasture-raised chicken hearts, human hearts, just kidding, beef cheeks. Dr. Brett's got a whole supplement line just of human organs. You can talk to him about it. He sells them in a... What are lamb oysters? Testicles. Testicles. Yes, this is a superfood that we rely on in quite a few supplements. Ignorance might be bliss, but I'm going to ruin them. I'm going to ruin a lot of supplements for you tonight. I'm sorry for any returns that come next week for people bringing some supplements back. Whenever you see the phrase or the word orchic on a supplement, it has testicle in it. I'm not going to tell you which ones because I don't want to ruin your supplements for you, but there's some very important ones we use with it. And it goes without saying, men with low testosterone, this is a essential superfood to get the body making testosterone again. Same with women. We use Ovex, Ovatrophin, Simplex F. That's bovine ovary. So this is so foreign to us, so disgusting. But as health practitioners, Dr. Brett can attest to this. If we didn't have organ meat supplements, would you be doing this line of work? I wouldn't.
It would be a lot more difficult.
You would have 1.5 hands tied behind your back.
It would take 10 times the amount of time.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great herbs to work with, and they're phenomenal. But there's nothing like these organ extracts to heal the organs. And in the old days, the medical doctors actually had a word for that. They called it organotherapy. Organotherapy. If you had a sick organ, you ate that organ to regenerate it. Because organs don't just have vitamins, they don't just have minerals, they have very unique, called nucleoproteins, that direct guide healing and repair of a damaged organ. So we're going to see very specific examples of that as we go. Next slide. Even eyeballs. I love that picture. Isn't that picture great? This is a YouTube video I found. The best way to eat eyeballs. So yes, we have this in supplements. iPlex is the main one. I know Dr. Brett uses a lot of this. He's getting phenomenal results with people with vision, any kind of vision problems. iPlex is his bread and butter supplement. And surprise, surprise, eyeball is a major, major ingredient of it. Does anybody get nauseous so far? We okay? Okay. So,
What animal?
what's that?
What animal?
Bovine. Most of these are bovine extracts. So the reason we're really going deep into all this is, yes, it is sometimes inconvenient. You get tired of looking at that handful of pills. But when you look at what the alternative is of actually eating those organs, I'm so thankful for these pills. Because I would never eat all these organ meats. The reason I'm up here tonight, and the reason I know Dr. Brett and do all this speaking and practice in Florida, is over 30 years ago, it's about 32, 33 years ago, I was profoundly helped by a standard process supplement that's an organ meat extract, pituitary. So my dad was a chiropractor, and when I was 15 years old, he was just doing chiropractic. He wasn't doing nutrition yet, but he had just heard about this company standard process. And I was having some health problems already. The one that I cared about the most was I was the shortest kid in my class, way past due with my growth spurt, wanted to play basketball, and I just wasn't growing. So my dad took me to the standard process seminar, and how it worked is this group of like 100 doctors, and all of us sickly people would just be sitting in the corner. And when it was our time, we came up one by one. It was my time to get muscle tested, just like many of you have been tested by Dr. Brett. And so he starts muscle testing me, and my pituitary goes weak. And he stops and he says, "This boy needs pituitrophin PMG, and if he doesn't take it, he's going to remain a boy for the rest of his life." And I walked off in shame. That was my very first introduction into this weird, wonderful world of standard process and clinical nutrition. I took that organ meat pituitary extract, and that very specific pituitary gland supplement unlocked my growth hormone, and I grew to a normal height. And I just knew right then, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is so cool that these weird pills can have that dramatic of effect in the body. And there's nothing else that would have done that. There's no herb, no vitamin. Organ heals organ. Next slide. So there's a lot of great organs. They all have benefits. But we're going to focus on the most important of them all, the king of organ meats, that really is essential whether you're healthy or you're trying to get your health back. The king of organ meats really is liver. Liver is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. In fact, there's a great YouTube video by Dr. Eric Berg. If you want to watch, it's about 3 minutes, and it's called The Most Nutrient-Dense Food on the Planet. And he goes through pretty much every single nutrient in liver. It's going to give you a much deeper appreciation for the two of you that are weird enough to eat liver still. And for the rest of you, you're going to appreciate the supplements that contain liver much more. Because liver really is like nature's multivitamin. There's nothing with more broad range nutrient profile in it than liver. And when you start looking at your standard process supplements, you're going to see it's in just about everything because it's so nutrient dense. But there's some that are absolutely critical that we just can't get in its full spectrum without liver. The first is B vitamins. How many of you know B vitamins are pretty important for stress, fatigue relief, energy production, sleep, brain health, all these things you have to have B vitamins for. And we're in trouble with B vitamins today because we have more enemies for our B vitamin status than ever before. Does anybody know things that just suck and deplete B vitamins from our body? Sugar, top on the list. The more sugar and refined flour you eat, the more B vitamins you use up to metabolize it. And then the really vicious cycle that happens is the more you lose B vitamins, guess what you crave? Sugar. And then you eat more sugar and you lose more B vitamins, and it's just a vicious, vicious cycle. So I've used liver supplements countless times to help people with their sugar cravings because they're just missing those B vitamins that their brain needs for the feel-good neurotransmitters. Every standard process supplement that you've taken that's B vitamin, like Cataplex, how many of you take Cataplex B? Cataplex B Core? I know Drenamine. What about Catalin? Okay? All of these, liver is the main ingredient for B vitamins in there. And there's other foods too, but liver is the make or break. Every B vitamin formula royally developed, liver was always the first ingredient. But there's other good stuff in liver. Zinc. Did zinc become much, much more popular during COVID times? Oh yeah, everybody became obsessed with zinc. And, you know, there's good zinc supplements out there, but liver is the most bioavailable, easiest way to absorb and utilize zinc. So surprise, surprise, every standard process zinc supplement, you're always going to find liver is the main ingredient. We'll go into those specifics in a bit. Iron. Liver is the ultimate blood builder. 100 years ago, if you were anemic and you went to your doctor, guess what they would tell you to eat? Liver. Do you know what they'd tell you to drink? Raw milk. Liver and raw milk are the two best blood building foods. One of those foods we eliminated because it's disgusting, and the other food we criminalized. We made it illegal. Pasteurize it. So remind me again, what's the legality of raw milk in Tennessee?
We're good.
Yeah?
People come and get it here, actually.
Yeah, okay.
It's illegal to purchase unless you have a share.
Okay. So you're saying Dr. Brett is breaking the law right now and it's our ethical duty to report him?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on it tomorrow. Excellent. Nothing will give me more joy. Can you film when the SWAT team comes in the back? I just want to see all that milk being taken out, you being let out and eat. So yeah, every blood building supplement that standard process makes, every iron supplement, you're always going to find liver as the main ingredient. Choline, you may not have heard of this one. Choline has a couple really important functions in the body. It helps metabolize fat in the liver. So if you have fatty liver, choline is what breaks down fat in the liver. But more importantly, it is one of the most important nutrients for your brain to work. There's a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine that you need to stay sharp, focus, memory. Everybody with dementia and Alzheimer's has very low levels of acetylcholine. And there's only two really good food sources of choline. Liver, and finally some good news tonight, egg yolks. Egg yolks. So I'm just betting most of you are choosing egg yolks instead of liver for your choline source. Here's another one, vitamin A. We talked about kidney for vitamin A. Liver is one by itself, one of the best vitamin A food sources. What do we need vitamin A for? We mentioned the eyes, but this is one of the most important nutrients for the immune system. So especially if you want to keep infection from ever getting a foothold in your body, vitamin A is the frontline defense for your mucous membranes in your sinuses, your lungs, your digestive tract. So think of I always like to use the analogy. Everybody's obsessed with vitamin C, right? And vitamin C is critical for the immune system. You've got to have it to fight infection. But vitamin A is like, if you don't want somebody breaking into your house at night, what's your first line of defense to keep somebody out of your house? No, that's second line defense. Wow, you're aggressive. What, do you just sit on your porch? Come and get me. Watch out for this guy. It should not be a first line of defense. What would be first line defense for your? Lock your doors, shut your windows, lock your windows. That's vitamin A in the body. Vitamin A is your front line defense nutrient. So if somebody does break through the door or windows, that's where. There you go. Just had to get that order clarified for you. So yeah, vitamin C is critical, but vitamin A is frontline defense. Now another nutrient, again, this is a little more random, may not have heard of it, but oh God.
How'd that get there?
Can we go back a slide, please? Thank you. He haunts me with that picture. I don't know why. I don't know why it's so triggering to me too. Ribonucleic acid, nucleic acids. So has anybody ever taken the supplement ribonucleic acid before? Yeah, so it's phenomenal for, Nadia laughing in the back. Ribonucleic acid is a supplement I've got a lot of my patients on because it's our number one brain fog, memory, balance. But for the brain, it's our number one nutrient for, I don't know if anybody's ever had this problem. You know the word. It's a very common word you never should forget, but you have trouble pulling it to mind. That's a ribonucleic acid deficiency. And organ meats were one of our best food sources of that nutrient. And it's one of the, like, we shouldn't need a separate ribonucleic acid pill. If we all ate organ meats all the time, we wouldn't need it. But that's where we're at now. If you want your brain to work, if you want energy, if you want healthy blood, if you want healthy immune system, take it or eat it. Liver is a indispensable, probably the most important take it or eat it food of the night. And when my patients ask me, you know, they're like, why so many pills? Is there any way I can cut down on the number of pills I have to take? Has anybody ever thought that before? Anybody honest enough to think that?
No one here.
Nothing to see here. Absolutely. There are many foods you can eat to cut down your supplement load. The question is, are you willing to do it? And this is the biggest one. If people ate liver, it would radically reduce their supplement doses, how many supplements they needed. And when I explain that to people, you know what their reaction usually is? Just give me the pills. Anything but eating liver, right? So next slide. This is why standard process has to exist. Dr. Royal Lee, even back in the 1920s when he developed this company, he was seeing the handwriting on the wall that these foods were starting to disappear, that people weren't eating liver as much. People weren't eating cod liver oil. Did anybody grow up eating cod liver oil?
I think so.
Yep.
I think so.
You'd remember. It was a traumatic experience if you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
So this is why he made the very first standard process supplement in 1929, Catalin. And when you look at that label, it's half vegetables and it's half organ meats that people used to eat and were just disappearing from the diet. And that was one of the genius aspects of Royal Lee, was he knew that we had to have both for optimal nutrition. We had to have the best vegetables and we had to have the best organ meats to really get the complete picture. Next slide. So if you won't eat liver, there's a lot of supplements you can choose from. My favorite, because it has more liver than any other standard process supplement, is Cataplex B Core. So this was designed, as the name implies, as a B vitamin. This is the best B vitamin on the planet. And yes, I'm biased because standard process is what I use. It's what I love. But I always like to to back up for a distinction, there's some supplements that you wouldn't have to get from standard process that other companies do just fine. There's a lot of good vitamin Ds out there. There's nothing magical, really special about the standard process vitamin D. It's good, but we wouldn't say it's, you have to do it from standard process. When you're talking about B vitamins, there is nobody else making whole food B vitamins like this company. And I'll challenge you, go to a health food store, grab any B vitamin off the shelf, and you're not going to find one food ingredient in it. It's gonna say vitamin B1, 6,000% RDA, vitamin B12, 2,000%. Do you know where most of the B vitamins come from? Coal tar. Yeah. That's one of the biggest sources of them. It's 99% synthetic out there. So if you truly want to supplement with B vitamins, it's got to come from liver. And that's why I highlighted it's the first ingredient of Cataplex B Core. It's got a lot of beetroot. We'll talk about how beets are a take it or eat it food. Nutritional yeast. Does anybody eat that? This is another food that when people ask, what can I eat to minimize my supplement needs? Nutritional yeast is a big one because it's a phenomenal B vitamin source. It's got a lot of ribonucleic acid for your brain. Some people will eat it, some people won't. Wheat germ, rice bran, sweet potato, carrot, bovine adrenal, not one synthetic vitamin. So I always tell people, yes, it's B vitamins, but what it really is, Cataplex B Core is the most painless way to get liver back into the diet. This is the easiest way to do it. What would be some really glaring symptoms you need B Core? Number one, any kind of heart rhythm disturbance. If you feel your heart fluttering, palpitations, you have AFib, any kind of skip beats, that is always a B vitamin deficiency. But it has to come from food to correct it. And we see this all the time, just a few tablets of B Core, and usually within a week, you're not aware of, feeling that flutter or skip beat or whatever that rhythm disturbance is. I mentioned sugar cravings is a really big sign that you need this. I know nobody has this. You're exhausted. You can't wait to fall asleep at night. But then 2 hours later, you pop awake and you can't go back to sleep. Not all the time, but many times, that's a B vitamin deficiency. I probably have a 30-40% success rate keeping people asleep through the night with nothing but B Core. Right? That's how important B vitamins are for maintaining sleep, not just falling asleep, but especially staying asleep. Neuropathy. Everybody's got neuropathies now. B vitamins are not the magic cure, but it's the foundational nutrition therapy if you're trying to prevent or reverse neuropathy. What am I forgetting? B vitamin checklist. Big ones. Strong light and noise irritate, like when strong light irritates you and it didn't used to before, or you're more reactive to loud noises, like you just jump and startle more easily. Think B vitamins with that. Oh, here's a big one. Crying easily. So you just start getting teared up at stuff, whether it's, watching a Hallmark movie like Brett does all the time. This guy in his Hallmark movies. And he's just a basket case sobbing the whole time. So like if it's something that, just heartwarming and you get more teary than you normally would, or bad news or stress, and you're just like, this is bothering me much more than it should or used to, consider B vitamins. B vitamins are the buffer for your nervous system to tolerate stress. The lower your B vitamins get, the more afraid and on edge, irritable you get without Bs. So liver is the magic ingredient. Typical dosing I do with this is about 4 a day. The more sugar people eat, the more of this they need. So during the holidays, I was giving people 8 a day, 9 a day, just to keep them sleeping, from going psycho, just to keep them on an even keel. Next slide. What about bone? Oh, before that, any questions on liver? How many of you have a new respect for liver? How many of you are glad you don't have to eat it? you can take it as a supplement. Yeah.
I have a question about the last thing you mentioned, about like if you're just kind of getting frazzled or whatever. During like menstruation and stuff, obviously women tend to be a little bit more emotional, a little bit more frazzled. Is that typically related to B, or is it related to other
Yes.
things?
Yeah. Anything premenstrual, B vitamins are a big part, but also the minerals, magnesium.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about like the green vegetables that are loaded with magnesium. But yes, I would definitely make B core a really, key piece of that.
Yeah, Dave, since we're down on microphone, just repeat in the future, repeat all the questions
Okay.
for viewers and for us.
Yes, it was a very important one too that affects a lot of people. She asked premenstrual and menstrual irritability, mood swings. B vitamins are a huge piece of that. That and whole food magnesium are the two nutrients everybody needs for, I call them mood food. B vitamins and the trace minerals. Bone. So some of you may do bone broth, but you're probably not doing it very regularly. And if you've already got joint degeneration, osteoporosis, you're trying to get your joints back, it's not going to be enough just to do some bone broth. You've got to make up for lost time. And that's where the supplements will give you bone in more concentrated forms than you could ever get in the diet. There's a lot of supplements with bone. We couldn't narrow them down, but these are two of my favorites for bone and joint health. If you, especially for bone density, osteoporosis, if you're just looking for something to feed the bones, nothing better than Calcifood. When you look at the ingredient list, this is pretty much 100% just ground up bone meal. That's it. It's very, very concentrated. It's also good for arthritis, toning up the joints a little bit, but bone density, that's the strongest supplement. The one we probably use a lot more, and I know some of you have been on this one, Ligoplex 2. Anybody ever taken any of the Ligoplex products before? This is the everything but the kitchen sink product if you don't want to fall apart as you age. Like literally fall apart. Like your joints and ligaments, muscles, disc, tendons, all your connective tissue. This is the best all-in-one formula to get those take it or eat it foods. We're going to see at the end, I've got a slide of like the top 4 supplements that if you want to get all these disgusting but very important foods we're talking about in the fewest amount of bottles possible, Ligoplex 2 is one of those 4. There's liver in here, there's bone, and here's a big one, there's heart extract. You're like, why is heart in this formula? Because what is the heart? What is it? What kind of tissue is it? Muscle. So when you eat heart, it's the absolute best food for supporting your muscle integrity. So that's why it's in Ligoplex 2. It's bone health, joint health, ligament health, and muscle maintaining healing support. This is a complete multivitamin. If you take 6 capsules of Ligoplex 2, you're getting every known vitamin, the whole Catalin multivitamin formulas in there, but it's got a lot of extra bone extracts to heal and repair. Questions on those? Next slide. So we want bone to support our bones, to support our joints, but there's an even bigger reason to eat bone. And this one might surprise you. Bone is one of the most important foods for your immune system, to support your immune system. So I love this graph. This shows all the key players of the immune system. Your spleen, your thymus gland. Tonsils, those aren't necessary. We should all remove them. It's a joke. Your intestinal tract, 80% of your immune system is wrapped up in your microbiome, your friendly bacteria of the gut. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Your liver is a huge part of the immune system. But what everybody forgets about, your entire immune system starts in your bone marrow. This is where all your white blood cell defenders that fight infection come from. If you don't have healthy bones, if you're not feeding your bones by eating bone, you may not be able to make enough white blood cells or the right quality of white blood cells to fight infection. Next slide. This is a little breakdown showing how all the white blood cells, that fight viruses, bacteria, parasites, regulate allergies, they all come from bone marrow to start. Next slide. So if you're not eating bone and you want to support the immune system, I know you guys recognize these two famous supplements. Both Immuplex and Conjuplex are loaded with bone. You say, what is bone doing in an immune supplement? That's why it's there, to help your bone marrow produce the white blood cells to go on the attack. We're going to see Immuplex. Immuplex is the most disgusting supplement we have because it is nothing but cow parts in there. Immuplex is a vegetarian's worst nightmare, but it is our strongest supplement to literally regenerate your immune system because it's thymus gland, it's bone, it's spleen, it's liver, it's all the organs that get beat down over time in our body. Immuplex is the jump start to bring all those organs back to life. Conjuplex is more famous for, how many of you always have a bottle of Conjuplex in your house at the ready? All right, excellent. Conjuplex is our most important supplement for when you wake up in the morning, you take a few steps out of bed, and you just say to yourself, oh no, it's coming. You have that early warning, uh-oh sign that you're in trouble. Could be a sore throat, fever, body aches. You just know that you are going to get sick if nothing changes. So you go to that closet in your house that used to be a closet and now is a pharmacy with all your supplements. Does anybody have? I just want to make sure I'm in the right crowd. All right. So, and you tear through all the supplements in there and you're looking for one thing, and that's Conjuplex. Conjuplex is our most important tool to have right away at the ready when you start getting sick. When it's too late for prevention, which is Immuplex, Conjuplex is the fastest activator for your immune system. Next slide. So that's bone. What about heart? Heart used to be pretty commonplace, and it is gone, completely gone. Now, not everybody needs to take this supplement all the time, but if you have a heart problem, and especially this one, this is worth writing down if you're taking notes. If you have anything related to chest pressure, tightness in the chest, symptoms of just not getting oxygen to the heart the way you should, there's nothing like Cardio Plus for that. Cardio Plus is our strongest tool, not just to regenerate the heart. You see the heart extract is the first ingredient, but it's got very unique vitamin E factors that really act very similar to the drug nitroglycerin to open up, dilate the blood vessels to the heart to get oxygen to the heart immediately. Nothing like it. 6 a day, not a bad idea for everybody to take it a couple times a year because your heart never gets a break, right? It's always beating, it's always working. When you do Cardio Plus, you're basically just toning up that heart muscle. You're giving it heart nutrients that you're never seeing the rest of the year. And if you do it like 2 months out of the year, that is one of the best insurance policies for your heart that you can do. Look at this. There's also lots of liver. We just can't escape that liver. That liver is in there for B vitamins, very specific B vitamins for the heart. Next slide. Adrenal glands. Does anybody still have adrenal glands in here with how stressful the world is? This is our stress glands, our stress batteries. Every time you're under stress, you release what hormone? You guys know this? Cortisol. Every stress, every time you turn on the news, you're releasing that little squirt of cortisol. You feel your blood pressure go up. You may feel anxious with it. That's cortisol. And what happens is the more your adrenal gland just gets stimulated with stress, eventually they burn out. And what happens when those glands burn out? What do you feel like? Exhausted. You can't sleep through the night. That's another factor of not being able to sleep through the night. You get massive afternoon fatigue, like around 2 or 3 o'clock. Just get a big energy crash. Got to take a nap. Need a massive shot of caffeine just to get awake again. That's adrenal fatigue. Give you another symptom, salt cravings. Really strong salt cravings. Anybody ever had that before? Always an adrenal symptom. One more, when you stand up and you get lightheaded. everything just spins, you get dizzy. That's one of the most accurate indicators that your adrenal glands are burning out, that you're not able to make the hormones to keep your blood pressure stable. So Drenamine, I know Dr. Brett uses a lot of this one. Surprise, surprise, right after liver for B vitamins, bovine adrenal. We haven't really talked yet about this extra organ meat extract. There's both ground up adrenal and adrenal PMG. That stands for protomorphogen. So one of the cool things in the supplement industry that you may be noticing right now, organ meats actually are becoming more popular in supplements. Has anybody noticed that? That there's more companies that are making like liver supplements, heart supplements. If you go on Instagram, more and more people are doing this, and that's great. But one of the things Dr. Royal Lee from Standard Process figured out is how to extract the very specific protein from the gland that could regenerate it at the highest level. And he called it the protomorphogen. So whenever you see this PMG in an ingredient list, that means it goes beyond just eating the organ. It's the most concentrated part of the organ that stimulates repair of that gland. So things like Drenamine have both of those extracts in it. So look at your list of supplements, and I guarantee you're going to find some that say PMG. And we're going to see a more complete list of PMGs in a minute. Next slide. Thymus gland. Nobody eats this, but we used to. Sweetbread, that was thymus gland. Why do we want to eat thymus? Why do we want thymus in our bodies? What does the thymus control? Your immune system. That is the boss of your body's ability to fight infection. When I mentioned when you get up and you just know that you're in trouble, you feel those body aches, the fever coming on. If you want to get your body through that infection as quickly as possible, you want to load up on mass quantities of thymus gland to kick your immune system into gear. And the two groups that need thymus more than any other in our population is the very young and the very old. So we use a lot of Conjuplex, and spread the word about this one for kids with infection. There's nothing like Conjuplex that helps them, especially ear infections, respiratory infections, because their thymus gland isn't completely developed yet. So when they take that thymus gland extract, it just gives them a little boost for that gland that hasn't been fully matured and developed. But the older we get, what happens to our thymus gland the older we get? One of the worst things about aging, it shrivels up. It atrophies. And for a long time, the geniuses, I say that very sarcastically in medicine, do you know what their answer was to the thymus gland shriveling up as we age? They said, it must not be important because it starts disappearing. It's the exact opposite. It means you need to support it more than ever before. So it's now considered that thymus gland, is anybody interested in healthy aging or slowing down the aging process? There is a big school of thought now that thymus extracts are one of the most powerful tools to slow down aging, to keep our immune systems young, but also to regulate a lot of other factors of aging that we think are normal, and they aren't. Thymus is the top target gland for slowing the aging process. And once again, our top two thymus gland extracts, Imuplex and Conjuplex. Next slide, we're going to take a deeper dive on Imuplex. I mentioned Imuplex is just like a cow in a bottle. There are so many organ meats in this. I don't know any other standard process supplement that has more organ meats than Imuplex. Liver protomorphogen to regenerate the liver. Bone, we mentioned all the white blood cells come from bone marrow. The only vegetarian ingredient in the proprietary blend is nutritional yeast. That's it. Everything else is organ meats. Spleen, huge part of the immune system. Thymus protomorphogen. There's two different thymus extracts in this product. One is for healing the thymus. That's that thymus unique protomorphogen extract. The thymus cytosol, that's another very unique standard process extract. that's designed more for fast-acting immune support. When you're sick and you want to get through it as quickly as possible, you want lots of thimercytosol extract. That's the main ingredient of the Conjuplex formula. So again, there's a lot of similarities between Imuplex and Conjuplex, but Imuplex is truly the best thing we have for if you're one of those people that just catch everything that goes around, and you just can't seem to ever catch a break, like you're the one that's going to get it, you're the one that's going to fight it. Imuplex is our ultimate tool to regenerate all those pieces of the immune system that have just gotten beaten down. Really good post-flu. Yeah, I use a lot of this, and it's almost a multivitamin with all the things that it has because of liver being in there. Questions on Imuplex or Conjuplex or anything immune? Dr. Brett, anything you want to add to that in the immune arsenal?
Immune arsenal.
Or why you love Imuplex and Conjuplex so much?
Because people are so beat down. And yeah, immune system, without a healthy immune system, you're dead.
Yep. And another thing about Imuplex, we talked about zinc. This is one of our best zinc supplements, too. So multi-purpose Imuplex. If you have a blood test that comes back and you've got low white blood cells, this is one of the best things to boost your white blood cell count because of the bone extract that's in there to help your bone marrow make white blood cells. Next slide. Eyeballs. Nobody's eating this. Now, I don't use this nearly as much as Imuplex and Cataplex B, liver. We said not all of these organ meats, these aren't things everybody has to do all of the time. But if you have an eye weakness of any kind, it is indispensable. You have to get eyeball extracts to heal the eyeballs. There's unique nucleoproteins in that bovine eye tissue you can't get from any herb, any vegetable. It's got to come from that organ. Eyeplex, you can see eyes are like the main ingredient, but then it's every known nutrient to support the eyes. A lot of vitamin A. There's that kidney in there to support vitamin A, especially for night vision problems. You just don't trust yourself on the road at night as much as you used to. Think Eyeplex for that. Next slide. So this is a more complete list of all the cow parts that we use day in and day out. Pretty much every tissue you can imagine, every organ, there's a organ meat protomorphogen extract that's going to uniquely target that tissue. And this is sprinkled throughout a lot of the other supplements that we've been talking about. This is the one that started it all for me, gave me my growth spurt, pituitrophin PMG. Oh, and we've done that now with your brother. This is my nephew up on the front. So his younger brother, exact same thing happened. He was 15 years old, wasn't growing, got him pituitrophin. It took about 3 months, I think, for it to kick in. But what is he, 7 feet tall now? Yeah. Had to cut back the pituitrophin on him. Next slide. So that's organ meats. How many of you have a deeper appreciation for the value of gross, disgusting cow parts? I'm telling you, if we didn't have those organ meats as ingredients in the supplements, they wouldn't work half as well. As important as herbs are, as important as the organically grown vegetables on the standard process farm, the most indispensable ingredients in these formulas are those specific organ tissue extracts. So now we're going to go to a super simple one. This is one everybody can do. Nobody's going to eat liver. Nobody's going to eat thymus and heart. Everybody can do apple cider vinegar, right? How many of you already are? Just curious. I'm so proud of you. My nephew eats apple cider vinegar. Train him right. What's so important about apple cider vinegar? What are some of the benefits of this cheap, ridiculously cheap, easy food? Blood sugar. Blood sugar. This is one of the best foods to take before a meal to minimize the spike of blood sugar with that meal. So it's not the end-all be-all answer for blood sugar problems, but it's one of the easiest, effective things to do on a daily basis. That's one. The one we're going to focus on is digestion. So 100 years ago, they didn't know about, they didn't have fancy terms like acid reflux, GERD. They didn't have all these prescription medications that we now know are absolutely essential for our stomach, to knock down and eradicate evil stomach acid. No, we absolutely have to have stomach acid. They didn't even know about hydrochloric acid in the stomach, but they knew if you had heartburn after a meal, or if you did get that acid coming up your throat, they knew that the ultimate way to get rid of it quickly was just taking apple cider vinegar mixed with some honey. Now we know why. If you took apple cider vinegar straight without any dilution in water, what would that taste like? I mean, your face would be puckered up for a week after, right? It is very, very acidic stuff. And when you're talking about digesting your food, that's what you want. You want your stomach to be very acidic. And I'm going to show you that on the next slide. So pH. If you have a swimming pool, you know all about pH. And just like your swimming pool, you have to have enough acidity to prevent microbes from growing. But more importantly, if you don't have enough stomach acid, if your stomach pH is too high, like it says here, you can't digest food, especially protein. If you eat meat, it just sits in your stomach and feels like a brick. You just feel like, oh, nothing's moving, nothing's digesting. Stomach acid is the first line of primary digestion for your protein. And most of us in this country, our problem is not that we make too much stomach acid, it's that we are grossly deficient in stomach acid. And when we have low stomach acid and we eat especially too much, or we eat protein combined with other foods, we just feel bloated, we get burning, we eventually get ulcers. All these things come from not enough stomach acid. And if everybody just did cider vinegar, it would drastically slash all of the over-the-counter and prescription heartburn, acid reflux, GERD drugs that are out there. Every year, these ulcer, acid reflux, heartburn medications, they're always in the top 10 prescribed drugs. That tells you how common this problem is of low stomach acid. Cider vinegar is the easiest, cheapest thing that you can do to make sure your stomach's got enough acid. The other thing vinegar used to be really well known for, and it was just one of those important pieces of information that got lost through time, is people knew that if you had allergies, taking vinegar could clear it up almost instantly. Any kind of airborne hay fever, pollen, allergies. Why would that be? The more alkaline your tissues become, the more sensitive you become to your environment. So you just become hypersensitive to everything that you're breathing. So once again, vinegar is not the complete answer for everybody's allergies, but for a lot of people, it is a major, major factor in giving them relief. Next slide. So if you will not do cider vinegar, by the way, easy, painless way to do cider vinegar is just mix it with some stevia. You can make a really good tasting, put some lemon juice in it, make a lemonade. How many of you do it regularly? Again? Yeah, me neither. I'm lazy. So this is my lazy way, since I don't do vinegar as much as I should. Zypan. Zypan is our strongest tool for boosting your stomach acid. So the older we get, this is another, just like our thymus gland shrinking, the older we get, the less stomach acid we produce. And that's why when you were a teenager, remember when you used to get away, you used to be able to get away with eating a pizza at midnight with your friends. You go to bed, a summer party, you wake up, everything's great. You can't do that anymore. Your body isn't as forgiving. And this is a big reason why you don't make enough stomach acid and enzymes to digest that. So Zypan, for any kind of bloating, heartburn, reflux, this is our number one formula. Think of it as apple cider vinegar on steroids. I wish that was on the bottle. Apple cider, it's much stronger than cider vinegar. And I don't recommend this, but if you want to really put that to the test, just let a tablet of Zypan dissolve in your mouth. You will only do it once. It is incredibly acidic, but that's exactly what our stomach wants. Our stomach wants lots of acid to break down protein. I haven't even mentioned to kill infection. You talk about really key pieces of your immune system. Having enough stomach acid is one of the biggest make or break factors to whether or not you get sick. Because all the parasites, bacteria that you get exposed to, food, the water you drink, guess what is supposed to kill it? Your stomach acid. So the lower that stomach acid is, the more of a free ride bacteria and microbes have getting into your gut or into the rest of the body. 1 to 2 tablets per meal is usually enough to get the job done. Anybody take Zypan regularly? This is especially, we're a little past the prime time of the year to talk about Zypan. For next year, remember that Zypan is the ultimate supplement to let you get away with eating anything during the holidays that you shouldn't be eating. So Dr. Brett's a purist over here. But when you're Thanksgiving, when you've had more turkey than you know you should have had, more mashed potatoes, more pumpkin pie, the dose for Zypan is 4 tablets. And that will absolve you of most digestion, dietary indiscretion. It doesn't just have stomach acid. There's a lot of pancreatic enzymes in here as well. So if you have anything going on with bloating, heartburn, reflux, this is the first place to start. It's not always the answer. It's the answer about 80% of the time. Every single year, Standard Process makes, 200 to 250, I can't remember the exact number. What is it? Is it pushing 300?
Well, Standard Process is about 180.
180? Okay.
100 close to 200.
Yeah.
Mediherb is about, if you count liquids, Mediherb's about 130.
So out of all those supplements, Zypan consistently is in the top 5 selling supplements that they make. That tells you how many people in this country struggle with low stomach acid. Again, because we don't do vinegar, we don't do all these foods to boost our stomach acid. We need an assist now. We shouldn't have to, but that's where we're at. Speaking of bestsellers, I forgot to mention, anybody want to guess where Immuplex ranks in the popularity list for Standard Process? Sometimes it will go to number 2 or number 3, but since COVID, it has hovered right around the top as the number 1 best-selling supplement. That's, for what it's worth, that's what more people are using in the country from Standard Process for their immune system on a regular basis than anything else. Next slide. All right, this one, for a lot of you, this is easy. For some of you, this is just as disgusting as organ meats. Cruciferous vegetables. So this would be your broccoli, Brussels sprouts. We'll talk about my favorite one in a minute here that nobody eats. What would be some other cruciferous vegetables, examples of? Cabbage, yep. Cauliflower. Kale. Yep. So all of those fit under this category of cruciferous vegetable. The reason this is a take it or eat it food, a food that's more important than ever before, what's the biggest benefit of cruciferous vegetables? There's lots, but when it's all said and done, what do we need cruciferous vegetables for? Not fiber. Plenty of foods that will give us fiber. Detox. This is the number 1 vegetable to help your liver deal with all the toxins you're bombarded with on a daily basis. So all vegetables have benefit, but when you're talking about surviving the toxic soup we're in today, there's nothing like cruciferous vegetables. And especially, does anybody know what this random vegetable that you've probably never eaten in your life, and there's a good reason for it? It's disgusting, but it's the most powerful cruciferous vegetable for detoxification. This is Spanish black radish. So a lot of you have eaten radishes. Not many people like radishes because they're very bitter, very hot. So take that times 10, and that's Spanish black radish. This is the strongest cruciferous vegetable to support liver, bowel, and really systemic throughout your whole body detoxification. Next slide. So, oh my gosh.
How'd that get in there?
So we're going to take a 5-minute break. How many of these landmines are there to walk through?
You'll never know.
I don't even know what that is.
Next slide. He's got so much dirt on me. So this picture will help you remember why cruciferous vegetables are such an important take it or eat it food. And this really is a food most of us can find a cruciferous vegetable we like, right? Broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. You know, everybody's got some cruciferous vegetable that you should be able to incorporate into your diet. The reason they're so important is your liver has these different pathways that it uses to deal with all the toxins we're exposed to. Insecticides, pesticides, food additives, drugs, alcohol, on, heavy metals, phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. So what's happening with a lot of people is they're making these phase 1 enzymes, but without the sulfur that cruciferous vegetables give us, we don't have the nutrients we need for this phase 2 detoxification of chemicals. So what happens is we just get these recirculated in our body without the cruciferous vegetables. Our liver doesn't have, it's like your liver is working with one arm tied behind its back, trying to deal with all the toxins. Again, all the vegetables have benefit, but cruciferous are the #1 category of vegetable to support phase 1 and phase 2 detox. And then once it goes through the liver, your body's able to eliminate it through the bowel or through your urine. Next slide. So what do we need cruciferous vegetables for? I hope nobody's still doing this. The indoor pesticide application, nasty stuff, lasts for years. This is a glyphosate application. So how many of you are hearing more and more about glyphosate now? So this is just exploding, this herbicide. It's everywhere, and it's showing up in all of our bodies now. The CDC, about 2-3 years ago, they did a study where they measured urine samples of Americans. They found 85% of Americans have detectable levels of glyphosate in their urine. For kids, it was even a higher percentage. So it's one of those toxins that you're just getting bombarded with all the time. And one of the biggest problems of glyphosate, and this is going to tie in with a take it or eat it food that we're going to talk about in a minute, this stuff wrecks your friendly bacteria in your gut. It's one of the reasons we need more fermented foods and probiotics than ever before because of what glyphosate is doing to our gut. Next slide. What else do we need cruciferous vegetables for? Cosmetic toxins. I'm going to give you a website that will ruin your life. It's called ewg.org. ewg.org. That's the best website for chronicling all the different toxins that are in common cosmetics that we use. So whether it's deodorants, makeup, sunscreens, all these things, whether it's the lead, all the other heavy metals, toxin exposure, that website will lay it out for you. So women especially, everybody needs cruciferous vegetables, but women especially because of all this extra toxic burden that they don't even know they're applying to their bodies every single day. Next slide. Mold toxins. Spanish black radish, we're going to see this, like I said, my favorite cruciferous vegetable is one of the best tools for dealing with mold toxins in your body. So very prevalent problem. It's not the end-all be-all answer, but that unique cruciferous vegetable is better for binding to those, they're called mycotoxins from mold, than any of those other cruciferous vegetables. Next slide. And this stuff, silver fillings that are loaded with what? Mercury.
Yeah.
So every time you're chewing food, when you've got silver fillings, you're breathing mercury vapors.
Yeah.
into your body.
It's real close to your brain.
Yep. Oh, yes. The location so close to the brain, you get absorption with that. So cruciferous vegetables, very important to help bind and eliminate these, especially, again, the Spanish black radish. Next slide. Medications. So I know in this group, this is not nearly the concern that it is average American out there. How many medications is the average American senior citizen taking right now? It's a lot. It's a lot. And most of these medications, they deplete something called glutathione in the liver, especially Tylenol. Tylenol is the worst for this. Tylenol is the #1 drug that sends people to the emergency room for liver failure. And they have no clue it's happening, no symptoms leading up to it. But every time they take Tylenol, they use up glutathione, the antioxidant glutathione, to help protect the body, the brain, the whole body from the effects of that acetaminophen Tylenol. The problem is people aren't eating the foods that replace that glutathione. Cruciferous vegetables are the #1 food you can eat to boost your glutathione, to protect not just your liver, but your whole body from these toxins, especially medications. So the more medications somebody's doing, more likely that cruciferous vegetable supplementation is going to be necessary. Next slide. This is a fun slide I just found. Hadn't heard this term before. Alzheimerogens. Any toxin that makes Alzheimer's disease more likely. And there's a lot of them. This is a whole emerging field of study. We just became aware, in the last decade of how strong of a link sugar was with Alzheimer's. And now the research is going to what individual chemicals are increasing Alzheimer's risk. I mentioned before, Tylenol, acetaminophen is a huge one for dementia because you're stealing glutathione from the brain. So now who's depressed with this stuff? I know this is nothing compared to a normal Dr. Brett, so he loads you with so much depressing him. I watched 10 minutes of it, and then I got to take a break, process it, then come back to.
I love you too, buddy.
I meant that as a compliment. You're giving heavy, hard truths. That's what I meant. Next slide. This might be the most depressing slide of the whole night. These are the vegetables we're eating in this country. So we just made the case for why cruciferous vegetables are the most important vegetable. But the USDA, when they do a survey of what Americans eat, this is what they're finding. The most consumed vegetables are potatoes and tomatoes. What does that translate into?
Fries and ketchup.
Ketchup and fries, French fries. So all of that data goes into the top consumed vegetables. That's what we're eating. Potato chips, French fries, ketchup, then a sharp drop after that, onions, head lettuce, sweet corn, carrots, romaine and leaf lettuce. What do you see glaringly absent from that list? Cruciferous vegetables, the most important vegetable to help us survive our toxins. Next slide. Let's take a poll. How many of you have a cruciferous vegetable that when we went through all that, you're like, okay, I'm going to eat more broccoli or Brussels sprouts or cabbage?
Oh, yeah, broccoli.
Okay, is it broccoli? How many of you it's Brussels sprouts? Okay, cabbage? Nothing? No cruciferous? How many of you like them, but you just know you're not going to incorporate them regularly enough? Okay, once again, we have an honesty deficiency in the room. So if you won't eat cruciferous vegetables, there's many options from the standard process product line to do it, but I'm going to give you my favorites. Next slide. So my favorite cruciferous I mentioned is Spanish black radish. This is so different from broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale. Most of those grow above the ground. This is a root vegetable. So you're going to get a lot of nutrients from it being a root vegetable that you wouldn't in the others. Two of the big ones you're going to hear more and more about are fulvic and humic acid. Fulvic and humic acid. Those nutrients in themselves are very powerful for binding to toxins. In fact, there's a whole supplement company, there's several supplement companies that all they make is fulvic and humic acid supplements for detox. So if you want to get that in a food, that those binding nutrients that bind to all these toxins in our body, root vegetables, carrots, beets, black radish, sweet potato, any of those root vegetables are going to have fulvic humic acid.
That's a big radish.
Yes, it is. Standard Process is one of the very few farms and especially supplement companies that's even interested in Spanish black radish. It's just, and it blows my mind because this is worth writing down if you're taking notes. The power of cruciferous vegetables is a very specific chemical called glucosinolates. Glucosinolates, that's the unique chemical that you only get in cruciferous vegetables, you don't get in other foods. And it's one of the biggest cancer fighters, one of the biggest things that stimulates liver detox. Black radish has 4 times the glucosinolates that broccoli has.
Wow.
So broccoli gets all the attention, as being our big cancer prevention food. But I will take black radish over it any day of the week. The other thing that makes black radish unique is the black tannins that make the peel. Those black tannins are antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal. So when you're trying to do gut detoxification, if you've got overgrowth of bacteria or fungal organisms that you don't want in your gut, think of black radish as just this sponge going through your digestive tract to help minimize bacterial fungal overgrowth and bind to toxins in your gut that you don't want to sweep them out of the body. Much stronger than any of the cruciferous vegetables to do that. It also seems to have more of a whole drainage effect, even for lymph node drainage. A lot of doctors, when patients are sick and they've got swollen lymph nodes, congested sinuses, they'll use black radish just to drain everything. It's a drainage tool. I've used it a lot for that purpose. People with really chronic sinus congestion, nothing else is working. Sometimes black radish, is the big one. Next slide. So black radish is one of the main ingredients in the most used liver supplement in this office, Livoplex. How many of you have been on Livoplex before? This is the room full of perfect livers in here. Livoplex is our everything but the kitchen sink formula for supporting liver health. And when you look at the foods in here, it's a lot of take it or eat it foods. If you're not getting enough vegetables in your diet, this is one of the best supplements to compensate because it doesn't just have a lot of black radish, it has a lot of beetroot and beet leaf juice. So for the gallbladder, phenomenal. It's got carrot, sweet potato, but the magic vegetable in Livoplex is Spanish black radish. Look at the first ingredient of Livoplex. We can't escape these organ meats. The first ingredient is liver. That liver protomorphogen to support healing and repair of the liver. So any questions on cruciferous vegetables and black radish? So I'm going to let a friend of mine summarize the benefits of black radish. Spanish black radish is the most amazing cruciferous vegetable you've ever eaten in your life. It's so much better than broccoli and kale. Quite frankly, those foods can't hold a candle to black radish. By the way, I'm so glad to see the cutout of myself out in the front reception room. Thank you for that, Dr. Brad. I deserve it. I deserve it so much. Black radish is the most amazing things for bowel movements. Folks, the rest of the country, they're laughing at our bowels. We used to have the most voluminous bowel movements, but now they're little rabbit pellets. Or they're runny, or sometimes we don't even poop for days, and China is laughing at our bowel movements. Folks, we need black radish to get our bowels back on track. It's the most amazing thing. It has 4 times the power of broccoli. It's going to help you detoxify all the toxins that, quite frankly, are coming from China. They're coming from China. They're coming from all sorts of places. And folks, black radish tastes terrible. It tastes so bad. So you want to get it in a pill form. Liverplex is a wonderful way to do it. We're going to take black radish and we're going to make our livers great again. We're going to make our bowel movements great again. They're going to be so big and beautiful like you've never seen before. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Spanish black radish. Thank you. Is that going to be a separate clip? We're going to get that edited out? Awesome. I love it. Next slide. Beets. This is another take it or eat it food. How many of you eat beets regularly? Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is one, no reason not to eat it. They taste great, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But we just, fall out of the routine of it. What's the value of beets? Again, it's a root vegetable. So we're going to get lots of nutrients from the soil. The red, just like we talked about, the black is the magic of black radish. It's the red nitrates that's the magic of beets. This doesn't just support liver health. This is one of the ultimate preventative foods for cardiovascular health. How many of you knew that beets were one of the best foods for blood pressure? If you've got elevated blood pressure, beet juice is one of the first easy, simple things to try. Now, Dr. Brett's going to tell you to get on blood pressure medication right away because that's the way he rolls.
All day.
But,
Every day.
but I'm giving you a second opinion. Beet juice to try first. I mentioned this is not just a food for the gallbladder. This is the gallbladder food. Does anybody that you know out there still have their gallbladder? Like, there's a lot of gallbladders missing, and it's tragic because if people ate beets regularly, we'd have a lot more people walking around with gallbladders today. Beets are the ultimate food to help the liver produce and thin bile. And what do we need bile for? When you eat fat, you've got to have bile to digest that fat. So people that eat fatty meals and they feel nauseous or they're burping or they have light-colored stools, those are screaming symptoms that their gallbladder isn't working in digesting fat. Almost all of our gallbladder formulas from standard process, beet is like the main ingredient. So remember that's one of the bonuses of Livaplex. You don't just get the radish for the detox, you get a lot of beet juice for your gallbladder. So now we're going to take it a step further. Does anybody eat the beet leaf? One person. Yeah, okay. Not as many people eat the leaf as the root. Going to give you a tip about the leaf that might make you incorporate it in your salads more. Beet leaf is one of the best food sources you can possibly get of magnesium. So the very deficient, very essential mineral for stress, sleep, nervous system function in general, beet leaf is the primary way to get magnesium into your body. Beet leaf and a food nobody eats, buckwheat leaf. Those are the two best sources of it. So every time you see beet leaf, like Livaplex has that beet leaf in it, you're, as a side bonus, you're getting a phenomenal magnesium nutrient source. Next slide. How many of you are doing the purification program right now? How's it going? Did you strangle anybody the first week? You survived?
Yeah.
So a lot of these cruciferous vegetables that we've talked about, that's the magic of this program, is it is more cruciferous vegetables than you've ever eaten in your life. Between the kale and Brussels sprouts that are in green food, SP Complete, there's Spanish black radish in SP Cleanse. There's lots of beet juice in the SP Cleanse and the whole food fiber. This is the way to make up for lost time when you haven't eaten cruciferous vegetables the whole year. You haven't eaten beets the whole year. There's nothing stronger, more aggressive to get your liver up to speed, detox the whole body than the purification program. Any words on purification you want to add? Are most people coming to the end of their purification program?
No, we just actually got started. Most people got started about 7 days ago.
Okay.
Today's day 7
Okay.
for most people.
So let's celebrate you making it through the first week by going to Baskin Robbins across the street. You deserve a reward.
Let's send everybody to Five Guys.
Five Guys?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Guys.
So my hat's off to you. I know it's not easy doing this program, but this is the ultimate way to get things up to speed. If you want to continue the progress of the purification program, if you're in a good groove with it, remember, we forget a lot. SP Complete, those shakes, that has a lot of cruciferous vegetable extract in it. Now, it doesn't have my favorite, Spanish black radish, but it's got a lot of Brussels sprouts and kale and just green vegetables, alfalfa, buckwheat juice. So if you did nothing else but a daily SP Complete shake, you're giving your liver everything it needs to detox with those cruciferous vegetables. It's an awesome program. Next slide. All right, fermented foods. What is this? What do we have going on over here? Sauerkrauts, and I'm guessing that's beets, fermented beets over here. So this is something, again, that's been lost. Thankfully, it's making a comeback. Again, some of these superfoods are making a comeback. Bone broth, fermented foods, liver's never coming back. A supplement is the way you're going to get liver. But what's so important about fermented foods? What's the biggest takeaway nutrient or essential thing we need from fermented foods? It's a big buzzword. Probiotics. Very good. Probiotics. This was the original probiotic supplement. When grandma would can the vegetables, that in that fermentation process would actually develop healthy fermented bacteria strains and friendly yeast strains, a lot of stuff to support our gut. Probiotics are one of those categories of supplements that shouldn't even have to exist. Because if we just ate fermented foods, and if we still had access to raw milk, which is loaded with probiotics, we wouldn't need those supplements with it. But everybody stopped doing this. Raw milk became illegal. So we've got to get those bacteria from other sources. What do we have going on over here? Oh, yeah. Kombucha. Kombucha. How many kombucha drinkers? We have. All right. I knew we were in a group of weirdos tonight. Let's take it a step further. Who's making your own? Oh, my goodness. Wow, we got a hardcore group. So is you guys SCOBY like taking over the garage?
Keep it in the pool.
It's like crawling around on legs. You have to feed it. So here's what's really cool, and encourage you that are doing your own kombucha. This doesn't just have friendly bacteria. This has friendly yeast organisms in it too. So there's not just friendly bacteria that our gut needs. There's friendly, this is going to sound gross, friendly fungus organisms. And kombucha has one called Saccharomyces boulardii. It's one of the most powerful things you can do to keep your gut healthy, to keep your body from getting candida overgrowth. So it's a very special fermented food. Sauerkraut, though, you talk about one of the best ways to maintain your gut and get probiotics. Sauerkraut really is one of the top 5 because it doesn't just have healthy bacteria. The fiber that's in there is what's the food for your healthy bacteria. And on the next slide, we'll actually see with that microbiome what we're trying to support with those fermented foods. You have trillions of bacteria in your gut that need to be nourished with fibers. We call those prebiotics. Those are the food fuel source for the microbiome. But when things get off track, like with antibiotics, sugar, stress, chlorine in the water, that kills friendly bacteria. There's so many things that kill the friendly bacteria. We mentioned another one, antacids. Any drug that blocks your stomach acid is going to have really bad effects on your microbiome. So we shouldn't have to need probiotics, but in modern American life, that's just where we're at. Most people, at least a couple times a year, you're going to need a little balancing act, a little readjustment, and you know when you need it. You just feel off. Whether it's loose stools, constipation, you just know something's not right. Next slide. If you won't eat fermented foods, actually, go back to that last slide, if you can, 1 second. There's a really good, simple test, and I thought I put the picture in there, but I must have missed it, to know that you need some microbiome-friendly bacteria work in your gut. And it's as easy as looking at your tongue. Does anybody know this trick?
Colonoscopy.
That takes place in the last room. The thick tongue coat. If you've got a tongue coat white tongue coat or even a little yellowish, that is a automatic indicator that something's wrong with your microbiome, and you need to get some fermented foods to balance that out. So that what you're seeing when you see that coat on your tongue, that's a reflection of your entire digestive tract. Gross, right? That fungus is overgrowing. That candida fungus is getting out of control. So on the next slide, these are the top 2 tools that we use to get that under control. This was the very first intestinal flora balancing product made in the US. I think back in 1932, 33, 1934. Coming up on the 100th anniversary of lactic acid yeast. And I will tell you, with all the innovations and probiotic supplements that are out there, this is still one of my favorite tools for balancing people's guts, especially for a couple key symptoms: intestinal gas and constipation. If you've got those 2 problems, this will blow away any probiotic on the market. All right, I'm going to regret this later, but I'm going to share a personal story that Brett's going to abuse with videotaping it, sending it out, going to edit it down. So one of my first things that besides the pituitary extract that helped me grow to normal height, is I had severe constipation as a teenager, like 19 years old. And I was just getting into natural medicine. I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I was studying all these herbs, taking things like cascara, senna, aloe, and they would work, but I was dependent on them. I'd go like 2-3 days, nothing. It was miserable. And I knew, like, this is not right. I've got the bowels of a 90-year-old at 19. And even though the stuff was working, I knew I had to fix the root cause. So I came across a book from Dr. Royal Lee, probably written in the 1950s, and he was talking about chronic constipation. This was the most important tool because just like Zypan acidifies the stomach so you can digest your food, lactic acid yeast is what acidifies your bowel so that harmful bacteria and fungus can't overgrow and just gum up the works. So I started taking 6 wafers a day, 1 month, never had that problem again after 1 month on lactic acid yeast. And again, it's almost 100 years old. Nobody knows about it, but it still works better than all the acidophilus bifidus supplements out there. And the reason, it's not a probiotic. It's a friendly yeast organism. And that's what is just as important, if not more, for most people. Zymex is our strongest tool for bacteria and fungal overgrowth in the gut. So now that I told you that about the tongue, it's going to ruin every conversation you have with somebody because you're going to be checking their tongues. Ooh, ooh. But you'll see it. You'll see this little flash of white. And when you see that, have them stick their tongue out. If they've got that tongue coat, there is nothing like Zymex to get that under control. So we see this a lot with people that have done antibiotics and they've wrecked their gut bacteria and they get all that candida thrush fungal overgrowth. I've used a lot of tools for that. Nothing works as well as Zymex. And it works incredibly well when you combine it with Spanish black radish. Remember we said Spanish black radish helps bind to all these toxins in the gut, just flush them out. So the 2 of those. In fact, if you guys want to up the ante on your 3-week purification programs, I would recommend adding Zymex to your purification program. Because the one weakness of that 3-week purification program, if you could say there's a weakness, is it doesn't have a lot of support to help get the gut microbiome back on track. There's fiber in it, and that's good. But if you want to really supercharge your detox program, it's inexpensive. Throw in a bottle of Zymex, 6 capsules per day, and it's going to really help on the microbiome bowel detox aspect. Questions on those 2? All right, next slide. So that's fermented foods. Here's one nobody's eaten: seaweed. Anybody eats seaweed on a regular basis. This is an essential superfood for optimal health today, more important than ever before. What culture eats this a lot?
Korean.
The Japanese. Yep. they're getting lots and lots of what mineral from eating seaweed that we don't get, and we're starving in America? Iodine. Iodine. So this is the most important food to feed your thyroid gland. Are thyroid problems pretty common today? Very common. And once again, kelp isn't the end-all be-all answer for all thyroid problems, but it's the most important food from a nutrient standpoint for getting all those minerals that we've lost in our soil, from our pesticide, herbicide application, not doing crop rotation properly. We've lost the minerals from the soil. We need them from the sea. Now, we need a lot of minerals from the sea that we can't get from the soil. So sea vegetables, seafood in general, is phenomenal for giving us a lot of minerals, but especially iodine. Now, iodine, we've always struggled with. You remember when goiters were a huge problem before, and that's why iodine was added to the salt? But it's more important than even back then to supplement with seaweed, because now we're not only deficient in iodine, we've got chemicals that steal iodine from our body and block it from the thyroid gland. Does anybody know what those are? The big ones. Chlorine, fluoride, both in the water. Bromide, that's what's in bread. And bromide is in all flame retardants that we use, like on our mattresses, clothing. What else is that stuff used on? It's doused on everything.
It's in all
All baby products, like baby cribs.
It's in all of the energy drinks, all of the
Oh yeah, Mountain Dew. Yep.
and things like that, all the Powerade crap.
Yep, a lot of bromide in those beverages. So chlorine, fluoride, and bromide, think of those as anti-iodine halogen chemicals. The more of those you're exposed to, the more iodine you need just to keep your thyroid alive. So sea vegetables, seafood has always been important. Today, it is absolutely indispensable. Nobody's going to eat this. So next slide, let's talk about how to supplement sea kelp. Or there's the thyroid gland, just to remind you what it's feeding. Next slide. Here's two of the biggies. Trace minerals B12. This is kind of like the ultimate can't go wrong mineral. If you don't know what mineral to be taking, that's what Dr. Royally developed as everything in one bottle: zinc, iodine, magnesium, potassium. But guess what the main food ingredient is? Kelp, seaweed. It's the main ingredient in that. The other one that you guys use a lot of in this office is Minchex. Minchex. First ingredient in that formula is seaweed, sea kelp. But it's not, so it's great for the thyroid, but that's not why that formula was developed. Minchex is our ultimate mood food. Mood food. This is our ultimate emotional regulator. And what's great about it is it works both ways. If you tend to be more melancholy on the depressed side, a lot of nutrition for that. If you tend to be more on the anxious, revved up, you can't shut your mind off, obsessive thoughts, you're exhausted, but right when you hit the pillow, your mind is just going with all the thoughts of today or tomorrow. That's Minchex. It's our strongest chill out food that we have. And kelp is a major ingredient of it, because kelp has all those minerals that act like brakes to put on the nervous system that won't shut off. Somebody that needs Minchex is, have you ever seen those people sitting in their chair and their leg is just bouncing? And they're not stressed. They don't even know they're doing it. Their nervous system can't shut off because they're missing the minerals to calm down. They're missing magnesium, potassium. So things like Minchex, trace minerals, both of those can help in that area. Awesome stuff. The last take it or eat it food of the night. Actually, this is a take it and eat it food, because we're going to see, even if you're eating, what is this stuff? Turmeric, the most famous herb on the planet now. Even if you're eating it, it's very poorly absorbed. And this is something that you really need to do in supplement form as well. So there is benefit to eating turmeric without supplements. Like, you're going to get liver detox effects. You're going to get anti-cancer properties from turmeric. But what's really poorly absorbed from turmeric, what do people want from turmeric more than any other benefit? What are they looking for? Pain relief. This is the most important anti-inflammatory herb that we've got. That's the good news. The bad news, those curcuminoids, that's what gives it the yellow color, they're very poorly absorbed in the gut, and they're cleared very rapidly from the liver. So when you just eat turmeric, again, if you're just trying to get the antioxidants, support your liver, eating turmeric is great. But if you've got joint pain, inflammation, or as we're going to see in a minute, is anybody interested in protecting your brain as you age? Nobody? Okay, we'll skip that part. You need to make sure that that turmeric is actually being absorbed and making it to your brain. Next slide. So before we get into those, oh my God. Each one is like a punch in the stomach. Oh. It just knocks all the wind out. That was one of Dr. Brett's favorite pictures to haunt and taunt me with. I see that one a lot. But I've never seen that Blippi one you used, that you used in that one. That was good.
Yeah, I came across that on the dark web.
Yeah. So the cool thing about curcumin versus a lot of the other foods that we've talked about tonight, I don't have a lot of studies to show you on the power of eating cow eyeballs for getting your eyes back. We just know it works. We know it from hundreds of years of experiences of doctors using organotherapy. A lot of the foods that we've talked about, there's not tons and tons of research with. Turmeric, there is. This is the most researched natural medicine on the planet right now. If you go to the National Library of Medicine, where you can look up any study that's ever been done on anything, and you put turmeric or curcumin, the main compound in turmeric, 25,000 studies on turmeric currently. And that's just increasing all the time. Next slide. We're going to look at some of the biggest areas it's studied. Inflammation. If you put curcumin and inflammation, 3,450 studies on the benefits of using turmeric to get inflammation under control. Next slide. Cancer. Turmeric, I always tell people, there's no guarantees with anything, with whatever your past toxin exposure history, things like that. But curcumin, if you want the most studied, researched, natural substance to minimize cancer risk, it's turmeric. There's nothing that has more research in the realm of natural, helping your body deal with carcinogens in decreasing your cancer risk than turmeric. Do you know what comes pretty close to it? Cruciferous vegetables. So if you want the two simplest insurance policies, again, to survive the toxic soup you're swimming in every day, cruciferous vegetables and turmeric. It's that easy. Two simple tools. So if you put curcumin in cancer, pushing 10,000 studies on the benefits of curcumin in cancer. Start now. The time to start is not after a diagnosis. Curcumin, again, is the daily shield to protect your cells from all these carcinogens we're exposed to. Next slide. That's all the good news. The bad news, it's very poorly absorbed. So what have you guys heard is the best way to help turmeric be absorbed? Black pepper. That's what everybody's heard as being the best way to get turmeric into the bloodstream. And that's true to an extent. Black pepper really helps turmeric get absorbed better. But there's a second roadblock besides absorption to turmeric working. And that is once you get it absorbed, the liver clears it very quickly and binds it into a form that's not as well used. So the challenge is we want to get turmeric in a form that's really well absorbed, but also can pass through the liver unchanged. Next slide. And that brings us to the hero, turmeric forte. How many of you have already taken this stuff? Excellent. Turmeric forte. This is one of the few supplements I give every single person that walks in my door. Turmeric forte, because it's the most multi-purpose herb you can take on a daily basis. If you're taking notes, let's just write down kind of the shotgun benefits of turmeric. We mentioned inflammation is the big one. That, by the way, turmeric forte, for the past 6-7 years, not only is the best selling MediHerb supplement for all the herbs, it outsells every standard processed food supplement. So whenever something becomes that big of a seller that quickly, you have to ask why. And the biggest reason this became the best seller across the country overnight is how quickly it got people out of pain. There's nothing as strong for inflammation as what they've done to the turmeric to get it better absorbed in turmeric forte. Second list on the benefits we're talking about, again, we don't say it treats cancer, but it's the number one thing to help deal with all the carcinogens you're being exposed to. Number 3, this is one of the most powerful tools to protect your brain as you age. And we're going to see there's been some new developments to it just in the last 6 months. If you want a fun Google rabbit trail to go down, put turmeric and Alzheimer's, turmeric dementia, turmeric brain protection. This is the most important herb to protect our brain. What makes turmeric forte different than all of the other turmeric supplements out there? It's very simple, but it's very profound what it does. They infuse turmeric into an herb called fenugreek. Anybody ever heard of fenugreek before? So fenugreek has a chemical that nothing else has called galactomanosides. And those galactomanosides increase the absorption of turmeric by 25 times, but more importantly, they help preserve what's called these free curcuminoids. And the free curcuminoids are the most potent for pain and inflammation. And this is the big thing to remember, for getting into your brain to protect your brain. Next slide. So on the brain benefits of turmeric, not just protecting your brain, turmeric can literally help regrow, regenerate parts of the brain that have been damaged. How many of you have ever heard of this chemical BDNF? It stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And it's something your body can make on its own, but it's got to have specific foods and tools and triggers to do it. Turmeric just happens to be one of the most powerful ways to activate brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So that BDNF will both protect your brain, but if it's too late and you've already had brain damage, whether from natural aging, stroke, Parkinson's, any neurodegenerative disease, this is the chemical you want your body making lots of, BDNF. And again, there's other ways to do it, but turmeric is top on the list. Next slide. So this is that BDNF. Curcumin, by activating BDNF, it can improve sleep quality, memory, mood, gets inflammation down in the brain, protects the brain. There's been more and more studies of simple turmeric for depression because they found a huge number of people that are depressed. They just have inflammation of the brain. So wouldn't it be nice if we had something natural that could quench that inflammation in the brain? There's nothing like bioavailable, absorbable turmeric to do that. Reduce depression symptoms, slower cognitive decline in Alzheimer's, reduce risk of dementia, reduce anxiety and obsessive tendencies, and increased serotonin, melatonin, dopamine, your feel-good chemicals. How many of you have a deeper appreciation for turmeric now? That's simple. Yeah, it's always going to be, the reason it's always going to be the best seller is because of pain. People don't like being in pain. But I hope what you take away from tonight is it is the best long-term insurance policy to protect your brain as you age, even if it's just 1 tablet a day. 2 would be the minimum I'd recommend. If you're in pain, if you've got active inflammation, 4 a day is the dose you want to do to get pain levels knocked down. Next slide. So talking about getting into the brain, when you take that turmeric infused into that special fenugreek, it's absorbed into the brain 245 times better. So if you just dissected my brain right now, it'd be all this yellow powder. just spill out. It's getting there. It's getting to the target that we want it. Next slide. So I don't know if anybody's familiar. This has only been around for what, 6 months? Neurogenics just came out recently. This is turmeric forte plus 3 other herbs that are all designed to get inflammation down in the brain and increase that BDNF. So how you can think about the difference is if you don't have any brain problems yet, turmeric forte can keep it that way. If your brain has already gone off the cliff, and you know what I'm talking about, those of you whose brain says have lost a few steps, or you've actually been diagnosed with something, some neurodegenerative disease, Neurogenics is the much stronger version of turmeric forte to get your brain back. So the goal is take turmeric forte so that you don't ever need this stuff. But if you do, this is the strongest way to support brain healing and repair. But the main ingredient is that turmeric forte. That's the magic ingredient of that formula. Next slide. So that's it. That was a little summary of what I think are the most important foods that you either must eat or take as a supplement. Cruciferous vegetables to support the liver's ability to detox. Fermented foods as probiotics. If you won't eat fermented foods regularly, that simple lactic acid yeast wafer is the best way to keep your gut healthy. I'm so sorry. This is the most important one. Liver. This is the one we can't escape. This is the ultimate take it or eat it food. The reality is Americans are never going to eat liver again. Find a supplement with liver in it to supply your B vitamins, your zinc, your iron, your brain factors like choline that you need. Bone broth. Most important food to support our bones and our joints. But I hope you have a deeper appreciation tonight that all of the immune supplements that you guys have used regularly, Conjuplex, Immuplex, all the vitamin C formulas for the immune system, they all have bone. Because your bone marrow is where your immune system starts. Take it or eat it. Beets for cardiovascular health, blood pressure, circulation, gallbladder health. Don't forget, the leaf is one of the best food sources of magnesium. And then turmeric is even if you do eat it, get some turmeric forte. And even if it's just 1 tablet to get the most absorbed, bioavailable form of turmeric. And then I thought it'd be cool to do a little simplified, I was thinking of what would be the fewest number of bottles that had the most take it or eat it foods in them. And this is the list I came up with. Ligoplex 2, that's got your bone, your heart extract to support both the heart and the muscles. A good amount of liver in there. There's adrenal in there too. The whole cattle and multivitamin is in there. That covers a lot of bases. Livoplex, if you're like me and you don't eat the vegetables that you should, especially cruciferous, Livoplex has more of those take it or eat it vegetables than anything else. It's got black radish, beets, carrots, and of course, extra liver. Immuplex, every known immune system organ is in there. Thymus gland, bone, spleen, liver. It's one of those things you don't have to take all the time, but again, not a bad idea, at least 2-3 months out of the year. Regenerate, recharge your immune organs. Give your bone marrow something to work with. Get your thymus gland back on track because it shrinks. The older we get, the more that thymus gland shrinks. And then finally, trace minerals, great simplified way to get seaweed in your diet, to get the iodine and all those other minerals that your thyroid and all your endocrine glands need. How many of you, after listening to all that, you're like, nope, I'm just going to go online and I'm going to order every organ meat he talked about? Anybody going there? I didn't think so. So it's bad news on one hand, but these are the best of times that we've got an easy way out. If you're like me and you're just not going to eat these foods, these are the simplified ways to get very concentrated levels the most painless way possible. So that's it. Any questions, comments from the great Dr. Brett?
Wonderful job, Dave.
I appreciate that.
Good stuff. It's great that people hear it from a different voice.
Yep.
I think they might listen now.
Are you venting?
Never.
So, the apple cider vinegar and the honey,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a certain amount? Like you take it half hour before you eat?
You can, yeah, usually like the sooner you can do it to food before you eat, the better, to kind of prime the pump with your stomach.
Okay.
Dose 1 to 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons would be like the max dose.
In water.
Yes, in water. Thank you. Thank you.
Two tablespoons
Mm-hmm.
in water.
Yep.
The honey and the vinegar?
Oh, I mean honey just to taste. Or I put stevia in it just to sweeten it up a little
Okay,
bit.
I got, yeah,
Yeah.
I got good honey at home. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Or you can hold your
Just a
nose.
few
I've done
drops.
that.
Yep.
So 2 tablespoons
Final thoughts.
in water.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hopefully this hammers a few points home as to why some of you are on some things and why you've been taking some things for a while and what a blessing it is to have these things available. Because you can't get this in other countries, right?
You can eat the organ meats in other countries, but you can't get the
Yeah,
extracts.
But you'd have a hard time even finding some of those organ meats
Yeah.
in other countries. So the fact that these are even available to you is a blessing because we have, it's you know, all, you can put these in your kitchen cabinet and have all of these products available for you and your family. It's great. Yeah.
All right. Be
So-
gentle on me with the edits.
Never, never, never.
Thank you, guys.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, give Dave a round of applause.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Jonathan, can you hear me okay? If Dave stands next to me?
Just take it.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Well, okay, thank you. We've got a couple of giveaways. Who wants some giveaways? Question. We have two. First of all, we've got a very nice 95th anniversary standard process moleskin notebook. These are very nice. They're very soft. And a standard process pen with a highlighter. So, who can tell me, first hand that goes up and I see it and you have the correct answer, you win this. Who can tell me the brain gland that was giving Dave a problem that never allowed him to become a real man?
I love it.
Isn't that what he said?
Yes. You phrased that so perfectly.
What was the gland? Nobody? What?
Pituitary.
Who said it?
She said it first.
Aha! And yes, maybe one of these days Dave will take enough pituitrophin PNG to actually make a difference. Number two, what are the SP products, you can use the abbreviation or the long word, that contain organ glandulars, or organ meats, I should say?
PMG?
Yes, there you go.
Awesome.
Very
There
good.
you
Yeah,
go.
wow. Check you out. One last announcement, and then we're out of here. So, in honor of King David and the fact that he's here, and since all of you showed up tonight, we're doing, just for in-house, 10% off all standard process Medicare for the people that are here. The people who showed up and that are here and that want to learn, I want to reward you and say, grab whatever you want. If that's stuff you're on, maybe you're not on, maybe you just want to try a few of these things. 10% off stuff.
Spanish Black Rider.
he's out front.
That is the weirdest Sam Kinison impersonation I've ever heard. No, I'm just kidding. But you liked your cutout.
Was it?
You liked your cutout
Oh, yeah,
in the
absolutely.
foyer. Yeah, that's been my best barometric pressure gauge I ever purchased. You can automatically sense somebody's pressure when they walk in the front door. All right, but yeah, anything else? Anything you want to say? Any questions? Anything else before we bail out?
Those 4 bottles at the end.
Yeah.
That's like, if
That's,
you want
that's
to
the
get.
best combination of
good
organs
stuff.
all into as few bottles as possible I know of. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Pretty much
yeah.
every organ meat imaginable. Yeah.
Okay.
Is the Spanish black radish available here in stores? I haven't even seen it.
Here, yeah.
Are the greens edible too, or do you are they?
You mean in stores? Our Spanish black
Oh,
radish is
yeah.
available.
No, because
in
they taste
stores.
awful.
No,
Like,
nobody's gonna
they
buy
know
it.
they're not going to sell.
Nobody's gonna eat
When I
it.
took my first tour of the farm, they had black radish laid out, and I was so excited because I was finally going to be able to taste it.
Oh,
And I grabbed a Spanish black radish, I took a bite, and I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. It just it's hot, it's bitter. Yeah.
Nobody would buy it.
oh.
Yeah, it'll light you up. You take
So
a bite of it.
where can you get it? I mean, you know, is there any place around here where you can, I mean, beets you can get. but
Yeah. How
Spanish
many people sell black radish?
I
It's
haven't
pretty
seen
off the
it,
grid.
so I won't.
Okay.
Is it in some country where they do eat it a lot? Do you know what countries they might?
I think everybody hates it. Again, that's why nobody knows about it. Yeah. It's not, broccoli's so easy to incorporate, and this one is not.
Okay.
Yeah. So once again, like I'm saying, we're so blessed to have these products available that have been, faithfully made in some of the best land in the country for about 100 years. We're coming up on, this is year 95, so we're coming up on the 100th anniversary of Standard Process. So we're so blessed that these are even available. A lot of people travel from hours and hours around to come here to get their stuff, or they don't even know that the stuff is available. Think of your friends and your family members that they've never heard of any of this. They've never heard organ meats. Ooh, that's the first thing you're going to get out of them. So, and then, convincing them into doing something like what you've done, or changing some habits, or taking some supplements every day. The first thing out of their mouths would be, well, why are you taking so many? Even if you're on 2 or 3, you're on 2 or 3 products. Well, they've never counted the 15 medications that the average American is on over the age of 50. They don't count those, but they'll count your supplements for you, right? So you'd meet with a lot of resistance, even just trying to break through to some people. But you have all of this available, and you know this information. So use it for your friends and your family and people that need this. Cool?
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you, guys.
No problem.
Have a
Thank
great
y'all.
night.
Have a good night. We'll see you February 24th.